Hello everyone, welcome to the second PUC economics class of Gopalswamy PU College, Mysore. I am Suma, economics lecturer. Let us continue the topics related to the determination of income and employment under the macroeconomics in the chapter 4. Today, in continuation with the previous session, let us discuss about the consumption function. You all know that this determination of income and employment are the concepts of J.M. Keynes. Therefore, these are all called as the Keynesian models of economics. J.M. Keynes in his book of Theory of Employment, Interest and Money published in 1936 has discussed about all these factors which are responsible for the macroeconomic variables. You all have studied that people go on changing their consumption level as their income level increases. At some point of time, they reduce the consumption level, and as the income goes on increasing, they start even savings also. Their amount of savings is also increased accordingly corresponding to the level of their income. So, in today's session, let us discuss about the consumption function. You all know that there are four major economic activities, and they are production, consumption, distribution as well as exchange. Consumption is the major activity of the economy, because whatever the goods that are produced from the production house or the production sector are consumed from the household sector, and in turn they are even consumed by the government sector also, and finally they are going to have a circular flow of income. And there are four major sectors in the economy. They are the production sector, consumption sector as well as government sector, then the investment sector also included here, as well as the foreign trade sector. All these are interrelated in terms of macroeconomic variables, and they are highly interdependent when we are determining the income and employment. Consumption, you all know, is a function of income. It is an integral part of the income. So, therefore, the consumption and income can be said as the either sides of the hand. Therefore, consumption is a function of income, or it is even said as consumption is one which is equal to the autonomous consumption plus induced consumption. The C bar denotes autonomous consumption and CY says the induced consumption. You all know that autonomous consumption is one which is free from income or which is not dependent on income, wherein induced consumption is one which is highly dependent on income. Any person can consume the minimum basic needs, can have the minimum basic needs without any income. Therefore, autonomous consumption is free or it is not dependent of income, wherein induced income is that it induces a person to go on for more and more consumption as his income also goes on increasing. So, therefore, here we learn about the consumption function as both the function of income as well as the function of autonomous consumption as well as the induced consumption. But before we move towards that, let us understand about the marginal propensity to consume as well as the average propensity to consume. The marginal propensity to consume, marginal by name itself you can understand that is it is the additional capacity of a person to consume. So, the marginal propensity to consume is nothing but the change in consumption that occurs or that happens due to the change in income, wherein the average propensity to consume is the consumption that takes place because of the income. So, So average propensity is measured in terms of per unit of income. As the per unit of income goes on increasing or goes on decreasing, the per unit of consumption will also go on increasing or decreasing. So it is vice versa. But in the marginal propensity to consume, that is additional capacity or capability or intention or the will of a person, the propensity can be meant in many forms. So the marginal propensity says you that you have earned additional capacity to consume some of the products because you have gained the capacity of generating additional income out of your job, profession, self-employment or business, anything. So therefore, this marginal propensity to consume is an additional capacity to consume, wherein the average propensity to consume is the per unit capacity of consumption, which in relation to the per unit capacity of earning income. So let us first discuss about the differences between this marginal propensity to consume as well as the average propensity to consume. So before we understand the consumption function, if we understand the difference between these two, it will be helpful for us to understand the consumption function easily. Marginal propensity to consume. Marginal propensity to consume is the ratio of change in the consumption expenditure, that is delta C, to the change in the income, that is delta Y, over a period of time. This is the delta change on delta Y, the delta change upon delta Y. The formula to calculate the marginal propensity to consume is, that is change in the consumption as well as change in the income. As in our day-to-day life, we observe people around us, they start spending more and more when their income has increased to a greater amount, wherein they stay abstained from buying or from doing any consumption because they are not having income. So particularly during this pandemic period, many of the small and marginal laborers and farmers, they suffered a lot because of the non-generation of income. So even then also they had zero income, wherein along with that only they had minimum consumption, and that is called as the autonomous consumption, because through various forms of the consumption activities they consumed the minimum basic needs even without the income. But if their income, when as soon as their income started increasing, they started the marginal propensity to consume. They went on buying additional goods for consumption as their income increased. Therefore, the ratio here is change in consumption is due to the change in income, wherein when you come to the average propensity to consume, that is average, wherein you cannot either go to the highest level or you cannot come to the lowest level. So it is the ratio of consumption expenditure to the corresponding level of income at a particular point of time. You all have studied about the stock and flow. Stock of a product is considered at a particular point of time and therefore it is static, wherein the flow of a product is considered over a period of time and therefore it was called as dynamic. Therefore, it is the ratio of consumption upon income, and it is the ratio of consumption expenditure to the corresponding level of income at a particular point of time. Let us see about the second difference. MPC cannot be more than 1, as change in the consumption cannot be more than the change in income, and it lies always between 0 to 1. The marginal propensity to consume always lies between 0 to 1. It will not reduce to below 0 or it will not go more than 1, wherein our average propensity to consume can be more than 1 as long as consumption is more than a national income, that is still the break-even point. You all know that the break-even point is the point at which the equilibrium of demand and supply is met with. The third difference is when the income increases, MPC also falls, but at a rate more than that of APC, because MPC is the additional capacity to consume, wherein the APC is the average capacity. So therefore MPC is mentioned in the type of a formula, that is delta change by delta Y, wherein here when the income increases the APC falls, but at a rate less than that of MPC, because MPC, as you all know, is the capacity to consume, the marginal propensity to consume, and therefore APC is mentioned as the consumption on income, because for every per unit of income increase or decrease, per unit of consumption also will increase or decrease. Let us understand this consumption function with the help of a diagram. You all know that there is an autonomous consumption here, because the C bar denotes that there is a disk savings here, because he is not having any kind of income. In spite of that also, he is consuming the minimum basic needs, that he is getting satisfied with the minimum basic needs, and therefore it is the area where we have the disk savings. At the income increases, as the income increases to 80, here he goes on spending rupees 20, and here he attains the break-even point. Here the income equals consumption, and when the income goes on increasing, here he attains the position of consumption, and the surplus is added to his savings. So here is the area where he can find the positive savings. Therefore consumption function is the function of the income, which is related to both the autonomous consumption as well as the induced consumption. Here the autonomous consumption is seen here, and the induced consumption here is denoted with C plus S, that is consumption, as well as in addition to the consumption he has an income to save. So with this diagram you can easily understand about the consumption function. Let us see about the concept of aggregate demand, because as a macroeconomic variable in the national income, you learnt that everything under the macroeconomic concept is considered with the aggregates. So an aggregate demand is one, which is the total volume of all final goods that are planned to buy by all the sectors of an economy at a given point of, at a given period of time, at a given level of income. So therefore this aggregate demand is the perfect demand, that is the effective demand that is existing in the market. The components of aggregate demand include the household expenditure, the production sector expenditure, the investment expenditure, as well as the government expenditure, and also the net exports. Net exports are derived from the exports minus imports. Now, as you all know that in a closed economy there are only two sectors, the consumption sector as well as the producing sector, wherein in the case of the open economy we are also having the exports and imports, because when once the economy is open up to other countries, we have both the exports as well as imports. So when there is an export and we have the income that is earned through the exports, and we deduct the expenditure that we are incurring for the imports, then we obtain the net exports. And in a closed economy this consumption function is calculated with both the C plus I plus G, that is here in an open sector, open economy, we consider the consumption expenditure, investment expenditure, government expenditure along with net exports. But in the case of the closed economy we have only two sectors, that is the household sector plus the production sector. So a circular flow of income moves around these two sectors in a closed economy, and in these four sectors in a open economy. So with this you understood about the consumption function, because consumption is the major economic activity that is undertaken in any of the economy. Along with this consumption function, in our next sessions we learn about the production function also, as well as the investment function also. So Today's thought for the day is be good as well as do good. So with this I conclude this session. Thank you.